Okay, to the upper left is the large sunspot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. What's all that fast-moving stuff? Clouds?
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And now there's no clouds. And there they are some more.
Yeah.
Wow. They look like something from 9th grade biology class that were floating in petri dishes.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean they seem to be wrapped in something. They're floating in something.
If you take a look to the lower left,
yeah, the other big one.
Below the big one.
Yeah.
You see that there appears to be an entire field of little
Oh yeah.
dots. Well, if you look carefully, you might not be able to see it. I can just barely detect it. There is a whole region where you can actually see some of the convection activity. It doesn't look flat. It looks wrinkly and textured.
I can't see that.
It's a big area.
Wow, there's a ton of them there.
Exactly. It's
really
a whole field
teeny
of them.
tiny.
Yes, exactly. It's a whole field of them. Oh, now this is interesting.
Yeah. What's that?
Yeah, it's been coming in.
Well, enjoy the sunspots anyway. Ah, I see it. Hey, folks.
Yeah.
Come on, come.
You're seeing Venus?
Yeah. Oh, you can't. Who asked if you can? How can you tell the difference between Venus and the sunspots?
Was that you, Fran?
No.
No, it wasn't me.
Yeah. Now you can
Okay.
Don't touch it.
I'm not touching.
Just look in there, and you will not miss
Oh,
it.
I see it.
Yeah.
Holy crap! It's huge.
Yeah. Here it's.
Oh wow! Wow!
Holy smokes! Oh,
Yeah, it must be nice now.
okay. Oh look.
Yeah.
Whoever wanna.
Yeah.
Holy cow!
But at like 1 o'clock.
Oh wow, look at all the sunspots.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Looks like somebody took a whole.
Can you see it?
Yeah, exactly, a hole punch.
Yeah.
It looks like a pinhole for those.
Yeah.
So it's just started.
Might be easier without the glasses.
Yeah, I can't see that. I do. It's 20 of 7.
Can you make it out?
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's really cool.
Now, to give you a sense of things, that little black ball is about 2/3 the way between us and the sun, and it's the size of the Earth. That's how big the sun is.
Sun is huge.
Yeah.
Oops, excuse me, I dropped the paper.
Pretty obvious.
Wow.
Look at that. Look at how nice.
And you can see the sunspots. You see them right there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see the sunspots.
Yeah.
Oh, that is
Oh.
And look at that. You can see the sun too. Oh, nice crab. Oh man, this is. Are you guys seeing this right now?
Yeah,
Beautiful.
we're watching
Yeah.
it live. Better than cable.
I'm not going to edit that out.
It was well worth the time.
Oh, it's over. Time to go home.
Good afternoon. My name is Joe Lumsden. I'm the commander at the VFW post in Manchester Center, 6471, and we are waiting for the arrival of Mark and Sean, two Marine Corps captains who have been hiking the 2,180-mile Appalachian Trail. We are their stop here in Manchester, Vermont, before they move on up north. They are raising funds for adaptive equipment for paralyzed veterans and amputees of the Iraq and Afghanistan war. For those who are unaware of what these two gentlemen are doing, they're doing what a lot of us sit back and wish we could do. We always sit back and we wish we could do more to help our veterans, and these two gentlemen are doing exactly that. They're hiking the 2,108 miles of the Appalachian Trail, starting in Georgia and will be ending next month in Maine. And along the way, they will stop at different VFWs and American Legions, and you can follow their progress and their status on their blog on the website. It is my honor and privilege to present these two fine gentlemen with a check from our VFW post here for $2,500.
That is by far our biggest donation to date, so again, thank you very much. We appreciate the support. We also appreciate everybody coming out and seeing us tonight and taking the time to listen to us talk about our fundraiser, so thank you very much. My name's Captain Sean Govan. This is Captain Mark Silvers. Again, we're both recently returned from Afghanistan as Marines, and we're also now lifetime members of the VFW. And we'd like to take a few minutes to tell you about Warrior Hike.
So last summer when Sean and I were in Afghanistan, we saw a lot of young guys coming back with debilitating injuries. Modern protective gear and modern military technology means that a lot of the young guys that maybe wouldn't have made it back from past wars are now making it home, but they make it home with debilitating injuries. So it's when they get back to the United States that they need support from us, and that was the impetus behind Warrior Hike. We said, hey, what can we do for these guys coming home with these serious injuries?
It's always been a dream of mine to hike the Appalachian Trail. I tried to do it after college, but the Marine Corps would not let me take that amount of time off before I report to my first school, so I was going to have to wait until I decided to get out. So while Mark and I were in Afghanistan last year, we both decided we would end our active service come this spring and start grad school in the fall. So that seemed about the perfect time to finally live my dream and hike the Appalachian Trail. So I spent about a month trying to convince Mark to hike with me. He wouldn't. And then finally, after about a month, I broke him down, and he agreed to do it as long as we did it for a good cause. And that's where the idea of Warrior Hike came to be. We decided that we were going to help our fellow brothers and sisters who were coming back from Afghanistan and Iraq with these serious injuries. Once we decided that we were going to make the Appalachian Trail a fundraiser for wounded veterans, one of the biggest hurdles was to figure out how we would turn this into a fundraiser and how we would get the word out to promote the project. And each morning and evening as we sat through breakfast and dinner, we tried to figure out how to do that. It came to us that each small town that the Appalachian Trail goes through has a VFW post. So we figured what better organization to partner with than the VFW to help promote Warrior Hike.
So once we decided, hey, all right, we're going to hike the Appalachian Trail and we're going to raise money for wounded veterans, we kind of opened up a whole can of worms that we knew nothing about. Nonprofit and fundraising and all this kind of stuff. So we had to figure out, okay, well, specifically, what are we raising money for? And in looking at organizations out there, other nonprofits and everything, we saw that there are a lot of organizations that you donate your money to, and then the money, where does it go? Where does that dollar go? It's kind of hard to tell sometimes. So what we wanted was a tangible result for each one of our donations, so that our donors could go to our website a couple of weeks, couple of months down the road and say, hey, that's where my dollar went. So we had to answer a couple questions. First off, we had to find, what is our niche going to be? What are we going to provide for wounded veterans? And in doing a little research, Sean found out that though the VA does offer a grant for adapted vehicles for amputee veterans that are in the recovery process, oftentimes that grant does not cover 100% of the cost for the adapted vehicle. And the difference between what the actual cost is and what the VA covers is usually $5,000 to $10,000. So we decided, hey, that's going to be our niche. We're going to provide grants to amputee veterans that are in the recovery process, that are looking to get an adapted vehicle so that they can get that vehicle completely free of charge. So the next question we had to answer was, how are we going to actually collect this money? Big donors want to have their donations be tax deductible. And we were in Afghanistan at the time. I got back 12 days before we started hiking, so there wasn't the option to start our own nonprofit. It just wasn't feasible. So luckily, when I was home in R&R, Sean had a Marine that knew Mr. Jerry Reed, who heads up Operation Military Embrace, which is a Texas-based charity. And he put us in contact with Mr. Jerry Reed. I talked to Jerry about our project, and he liked it so much that he made it an Operation Military Embrace event. So what that means for us and for our donors is that all of our donations are tax deductible, and in addition, 100% of all donations will go directly toward grants for wounded veterans. And what I mean by 100% is that Jerry doesn't take any of the overhead. So Jerry doesn't take any of the overhead out of our donations to fund the administrative costs of Operation Military Embrace. So we were pretty excited about the formation of that relationship. Additionally, then we had to figure out, well, how are we going to identify who is going to receive these grants? And this has actually been an ongoing issue for us. We've been trying to work to identify who will receive these grants over the past couple of months. And what we're doing right now is we're working with Rideaway. Rideaway is the company that adapts most of these vehicles, and we've actually we called the president of Rideaway today, and he's in on our project and everything. And he is working to identify members from every service that are in the recovery process that can benefit from our grants. So that's the general model of how our project works and where the money goes.
So once we established that we're going to hike the Appalachian Trail to raise money for wounded veterans, we're going to do it in partnership with the BFWs. And we decided that we were going to have the money go towards severely injured Iraq and Afghanistan veterans for adapted vehicles. The next big hurdle was to get the word out. How are we going to promote this? So while we were in Afghanistan, we built the website, warriorhike.com. We also got the Facebook page up and running. And then it just so happened to work out that my senator from Rhode Island, Senator Whitehouse, was in Afghanistan visiting the troops while we were there. And I got to mention Warrior Hike to him. He was really excited about the project so much that he wrote a letter to all the senators for the states we were passing through to let them know about Warrior Hike to help us generate some support. Upon arriving back home to the United States, I contacted the national headquarters of the BFW, and they actually wrote us a letter of endorsement supporting Warrior Hike. And then we started the media blitzkrieg after that. and started getting news articles released about Warrior Hike to include, well, we've probably got over a dozen news articles so far that have been published. We've made it on the 6 o'clock news a few times. And then most recently we ambushed Al Roker from the Today Show. We made it on the Today Show a couple weeks ago, one Monday morning. So that was a huge, huge support for Warrior Hike. So we got all the media attention built, and we also were able to generate some corporate sponsorships. We received sponsorships from Backpackers Pantry, Alpine Air, and also Mountain House that produce freeze-dried camping meals that they donated to us, which was helpful because we hike all day, and by the time we finish hiking at the end of the day, the last thing we want to do is try to figure out how to cook a meal. So now we just boil water, add it, and then you get a meal taken care of. Additionally, we got sponsored by FRS, which is a healthy energy company. They sent us $4,000 worth of their energy drinks, which is great. It's going to last us well beyond the hike, hopefully keep us awake during grad school after we're done with the hike. And then most recently, which was great news, was as we were hiking through, the through hikers all stopped at the Appalachian Trail Conservancy in Harpers Ferry, West Virginia, to register as a through hiker. And when we showed up to register, they found out that Mark and Sean from Warrior Hike were downstairs, and the board members from upstairs came down to meet us. They wanted to shake our hands, tell us thank you, and that they also have been contacted by corporate sponsors that want to support veterans, and specifically wounded veterans that want to hike the Appalachian Trail next year. They didn't know what to do with those corporate sponsors, so they wanted to hand it off to us to help them, which spurred the idea of now what we're going to do is have Warrior Hike continue each year, and now it's going to be a fundraiser next year to help veterans and wounded veterans hike the Appalachian Trail. One of the added benefits of hiking this trail is it's a great transitional activity after leaving the service and after being in war for 10 years for veterans to experience, not only to experience the national parks, but also to experience the great support from all the small towns and all the veterans organizations that have come out, like yourselves, to support Warrior Hike. So we want to reconquer this next year, and then hopefully you'll see a group of veterans hiking next year that can hopefully stop here as well.
We really appreciate everyone coming out tonight. I have to say this is definitely the biggest crowd we've had since probably Pennsylvania, and that this donation this donation is the single largest donation that we've received to date. So I really appreciate that. So you can check us out. You can follow our progress at warriorhike.com. We'd like to present a T-shirt and a coin to Joe here, to our commander here. Thank you very much. Appreciate you having us.
That's the one you took out this morning?
Yeah.